But yeah, it's nice that spot.
I'm sorry, I've already talked about it with Soren. I have to get up on stage in 2 minutes. I'll talk about it afterwards.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Jim is great. I'm a wreck. I don't understand how he can deal with his crap. I can't deal with it. I can deal with it worse than he can. He's like, oh, that's fine. I'm a tough guy. I'm like,
I have information regarding that type of thing. But my sister was sick most of her life.
yeah.
And it drove her husband nuts. He was always going crazy about it. She was just fine. She was just living her life and, taking in whatever she needed to take in. Lloyd got sick once and had to have surgery. And she went crazy. And she said, I all of a sudden realized that when you're not the person that's going through it, it's so much more difficult.
I know, it's like when Jasmine and the kids.
Yeah, compassion.
Yeah.
That's good.
Good morning, Genesis. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Let's stand and sing our opening song. Morning, everyone. How are y'all doing today?
Great.
Woo! Well, it's wonderful to see you here. Genesis is a community dedicated to love, inspiring harmony, and creating connections to empower spiritual growth. And we love that you are here to share in that with us today. My name is Dave, and I will be your host this morning. Our online host is Cal. And if you're watching online, please comment on how you find Genesis. I love reading all the fun stuff. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I still do it. Anyway, so let's get together and let's read our mission and vision statements. Be here on the screen there. Our mission: we are a vibrant community, cultivating a garden of spiritual growth, honoring vulnerability, creating a safe place of comfort and peace, where all are welcome and accepted in our vision. Genesis is a bright beacon with an unshakable heart of love, accepting all. A home for the soul where we each creatively express our spiritual brilliance. And now we will continue on to our announcements. Coming soon. Our winter class, facilitated by Cynthia Zink, Power of Your Word, will begin January 18th to March 7th from 7:30 to 9:30 via Zoom. This experienced course teaches the fundamentals of prayer. You will learn why life-affirming prayer is answered and how it is answered. You will learn how to pray effectively and become aware of how you limit and interrupt your own prayers. When you complete this class, you'll have a new prayer tools which you can work. Registration is now open online. Visit the website at Genesis CSL, click on Learning Opportunities, and sign up. Ooh, that is very exciting. Thank you, Cynthia, for allowing us to be a part of that. As we approach the final stretch of our year, there's still time to reflect on your pledges to bless and support your spiritual community. As Genesis Center for Spiritual Living, we encourage you to think about contributing to our continued growth and well-being by recommending a pledge into the years to come. We are immensely grateful for your generosity. Together, we are building a community that thrives on connection, oneness, spiritual fulfillment, and mutual support. And we will be continuing our book study after service today. On Wednesday, we have our intention circles. Cynthia Zink and Karen Williams will be leading the intention circle as they do every Wednesday. Encourage you to join us to manifest and make your dreams and desires come true. Science of Mind textbook in a year. Practitioner Karen Williams is following a guide to read the entire Science of Mind textbook in 1 year, and it's December, and that is almost finished. Wow, that is crazy. And thank you, Karen, for continuing that all this time. Every day you will find that posted on her Facebook page, Karen L. Williams, RSCP, and the Genesis volume page. Follow along to get all of Ernest Holmes' teachings. And so, is there anybody here for the first time? I didn't see anybody in the audience. Anybody online? Friends and family, as I love it. I love it, I love it. So, let's get up and greet and say hi to each other.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi.
Nice sweatshirt.
Good morning.
Or should I say, lucky I go happy? Well, they say, happy go lucky, I'm lucky I go happy. Good to see you guys.
Thank you. I'm feeling
So at this time, I would like to thank everyone that is in service today. Our setup and cleanup crew is Cal, Mike, Eric, Soren, and everybody else who participated, which seems like we're all kind of a part of, but give a shout out to those. Our morning greeter is Cynthia. Projector and video, Mike and Eric T. And we have offering with Gideon. Sound tech is Soren. Our online host, again, is Cal. Service practitioner doing double duty today is Cynthia. And our fantastic beautiful musician is Christine S. Young over there on our keyboard today. Our service practitioner today is Cynthia Zink. If you want to see Cynthia after service and get some prayer, I encourage you to do so. And I now invite Christine S. to lead us in our centering song, Breathe and Turn Within.
I breathe
turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I pray and turn within. I pray and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I pray and turn within. I pray and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I sing and turn within. I sing and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I sing and turn within. I sing and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I open up my heart and feel God's
Good morning, Genesis. My name is Cynthia Zink, and I'm one of the practitioners here at Genesis Center for Spiritual Living. My reading this morning is from 365 Science of Mind, in which the print is size 2 font. So I typed it up.
Hey.
Size 16 font. I am resolved to see the good in everyone and in every event. In 2 Corinthians 6, verse 14, it says, "For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness?" And the Talmud says, "Not God, but you yourselves are the creators and supporters of moral evils." And Ernest Holmes says, "Light can have no union with darkness. Evil has no affinity with good. If God is the great reality while evil is the great negation or denial of reality, then it follows that we should see the good in everything and recognize the apparent evil merely as a theoretical opposite of good. Or, as A Course in Miracles says, it's all an illusion." There is not God and something else. The divine spirit inhabits eternity. It overshadows everything, including human events. It dwells within our own soul and is released through our own act. To see good as evil is to becloud our vision, to obstruct the pathway of our progress, and to cast a shadow across the sun of righteousness. The spiritual sun was the guiding star that led the Magi of old to the place where the little child lay. That is, to the place of good in our soul, to the presence of God at the center of every person's being. The humility of the manger is the common place in every person's life. It is here, in that common place, that we must find the good, and finding it here,
We shall also discover that the larger issues of our experience are overshadowed by the same good that we have discovered in the commonplace. And let's go back to the affirmation that we began with. I am resolved today to see the good in everyone and in every event. I will call upon the good and will refuse to accept that anything other than good can come into my experience. In this way, I will be praying to the good through meditating upon it. And now if you would join me in prayer. So I recognize Divine Spirit as the good in all that is. Good that is God, and God is good. That's all there is good in our lives. That good shows up as love and joy and peace, in beauty and harmony, abundance. It shows up in so many different ways that I am here to experience that in my life and share it with all others with whom I come into contact. So I know for each and every person here this morning, either in person or online, that you are experiencing good, that we each have good in our life. I know for each of us, goodness and wholesomeness, health and harmony. It is all that we are, all that we have, all that we can be, because we are divine creations of that God that is good. I'm grateful for our teaching. I'm grateful for each person here this morning. I'm grateful for life, that life of goodness that I have. And I now release these words into the power of the law, knowing that the law has already said yes, that we are all experiencing that goodness in our lives. And I know that all is well and that all is good. And so it is. Amen. And now back to Christina.
I sing a prayer with every name of God I know, so I can magnify the glory of the one, the God of light and shadow, the Spirit on the wind, the Father of creation and the Mother of the sun. I sing a prayer with every name of God I know, and each name's another window to the soul. faces of God, so very beautiful, so very, very beautiful. So many faces of God.
Thank you so much, Christine. That's beautiful. So today we're going to talk about, we are going to talk about so many faces of God. I see so many faces here, and we're going to hear about more faces within us and outside of us in three different nativity stories. Three different nativity stories. Two from the Gospels and one from Revelation. And just to preview them, one of them, the first one we're going to hear is the Luke story, which is the gospel. It's according to Mary, the nativity story. It's as though they interviewed Mary and got her point of view of what happened. And then in Matthew, they talk to Joseph about what happened. Mary is barely mentioned, and boy, it's different. And then at the last one is Revelation 12, which is called The Lady and the Dragon. And this is about, I've been talking with us more about our spiritual womb. Like we all know that, you know, there is one mind, it is divine mind, and that is my mind. And we are united in our divine mind. Our noble selves are that divine mind. And we also know that our heart is our organ of spiritual vision. So when we activate our spiritual heart, we can see the spiritual world more clearly and more easily. And then we're beginning to look at and to experience our spiritual wombs. Everybody has a spiritual womb, whether you have a physical womb or not. And this is where our gut feelings come from. This is where our creativity often comes from there. Suddenly an idea will come out of a flash. A lot of people find their identity as spirit in there, but what I find is that people usually resonate with one of it's how we access divine mind, divine spirit within us. So it's not, we are like the blind people and the elephant. You know, some people are all about the spiritual womb. Some people are all about the spiritual heart, the organ of spiritual vision. Some people are about divine mind. And I want us to get the bigger picture, to experience all of them. And of course, our feet, you know, we connect to the earth. Divinity infuses and interpenetrates every cell of all of us, not just us, all of them, and we interconnect with each other both through our spiritual hearts and through our connection as fellow inhabitants of Earth. So long-winded introduction, and I brought for the first time a Bible so that I can reference. I was looking something up just before I came up here. So our affirmation is, I am made in the image of the divine, living a whole life. So let's say that together. I am made in the image of the divine, living a whole life. One more time.
I am made in the image of the divine, living a whole life.
And we're going to go through a lot of the aspects of lives in the Nativity according to Mary, according to Joseph, and according to the dragon. So Mary's story begins, it sort of begins with Zechariah. I'll talk about Zechariah quickly. Mary's cousin Elizabeth was married to Zechariah. And an angel came up to Zechariah and said, hey, Elizabeth's going to have a baby, and he's going to be great. And Zechariah's like, no way, that's ridiculous. She's too old. And the angel said, nope. I don't want you interfering with the consciousness of the baby, so you don't get to talk until the baby's born and until you fully accept it. And so this is sort of it's a little ham-handed, but it's Spirit's way of saying, I don't need that kind of negativity in the house. We're trying to get a 70-year-old woman pregnant, and it's a lot of work, believe me. You had your part. Don't mess it up. And then Mary, when Angel Gabriel came to Mary and asked, would you like to have the Holy Spirit birthed within you? And Mary, they actually quote her, and since I think this was written by her, I'm going to believe the quote. Mary says, here I am, the servant of the Lord. Let it be with me according to your word. So Mary was all in. Mary said, yes, I'm in. She believed that she could see that she was spirit as much as human, that her spiritual part wanted to grow, wanted to give birth, wanted to be more powerful. Many people believe that Mary came from a profoundly religious community like the Essenes, and there's some belief that this is what she was waiting for, was to give birth to a spiritual child. Of course, aren't we all? When my firstborn came, I was like, oh my God, look at that. And then next time we got two more, and they were both amazing. All three of them were amazing. So you see this. So Mary is not unique in this. But Mary approached it with an open heart. And then when it came near the time for her to give birth, that they had to go on a trip. They were living in Nazareth. They had to go on a trip, and so they ended up in Bethlehem. But Bethlehem was full of people, so the place they found to have the baby was in a manger with animals. Now so the angels were there with them, and angels they are messages from God, messages from the divine. And so this kind of divine intuition reached the shepherds. And the shepherds are responsible for taking care of all the sheep. And so these are the caretakers. These are the ones making sure that everything goes okay. And they all felt this intuition that something was going on. And so they went to the manger and got to be present at the birth. And so Mary had not only the animals representing the earth kingdom, but the shepherds representing the caregivers, which Mary, mothers represent caregivers too. And Joseph was there. According to Mary never noticed that Joseph had any doubts in her story. So he's there 100%. And then, so they had this wonderful celebration, and it's interesting because the nativity, everybody's seen nativities on people's lawns and in churches. Last December we spent in Mexico, and there are so many nativities. One of the funny things in Mexico, the baby Jesus does not appear. There's a procession to bring out the baby Jesus to the nativity late on December 24th. If you go to a nativity before then, the cradle is empty. So this is good. They've got the order of things right. One of the funny things, so you have Mary, open-hearted Mary, making sure everything's okay, giving birth in all these wonderful circumstances. But then they talk about what happens when Jesus becomes a preteen. He's 12 years old, and his parents are with him at a big festival. and suddenly he's gone. And how many of you have noticed, have been teenagers who are like suddenly not interested in hanging around your parents? Or your teenagers have decided they've got better things to do than hang out with their parents. Mary says, "Child, why have you treated us like this? Look, your father and I have been searching for you in great anxiety." And he said to them, "Why were you searching for me? Did you not know I must be in my father's house?" And so this is typical teenager. You know, where else would I be? Mom, come on. And she's like, "Oh yeah, kids." So that's Mary. And we've got the Christ child born. Joseph's a different story, and I want to talk. Joseph relates, and so Mary, as we celebrate Mary, actually getting back to the Nativity, it was St. Francis went on a trip to the Middle East, and he saw, actual mangers, with animals, and he thought about how Jesus was born in the manger, and he brought that back to Europe, and he had live nativities set up in all the churches on Christmas Eve, and actually during a lot of the time of Advent in the evening, people would come and see a little baby and mom and dad and shepherds and wise men. Did they have wise men? I don't know whether they had wise men back in 1223. Eventually they got added to the nativity. We haven't actually gotten to them yet, but just so the nativity is part of the Mary tradition. In Joseph's, so I want to talk about. Have you guys heard of Blue Christmas? How some people get stressed at Christmas? It's too much. They've got issues. It turns out that in America, most people are stressed at Christmas. 67% of people feel that Christmas is a very stressful time. 53% feel like their current Christmas, this holiday we're having now, is not as good as it used to be or as it should be. That same percentage feel there's unrealistic expectations put upon them to make the Christmas as magical as some other Christmas somebody had in the past. And 50% of people feel like there's something wrong with Christmas because they're distant from some loved one. It's interesting. Christy and I were talking about that. I wondered, does Zoom make that better? My family has because my son lives in Hawaii, and one of my son and one of my grandchildren lives in Hawaii, and I have a brother in Connecticut and another brother in California. The way we get together is on Zoom, and several times a year we get together on Zoom holidays. My stepson lives in Bozeman, Montana, and we used to get together. During COVID, we got together every month to cook a meal together. So he would send out the shopping list, and then we'd cook it all and eat it together on Zoom. So families can do this. I don't know how much people are doing this, or whether, because of Zoom, everybody's more distant. But it's a real thing. And what I want to encourage everybody to do is, if you feel like that during the season, self-compassion is really the best thing to do for yourself. What we find it's funny because they find, especially men often don't want to give themselves self-compassion, but it is a good thing because it makes you more resilient. It makes you more able to bounce back. It makes you stronger. And there are three elements of self-compassion. One is self-kindness versus self-judgment. So when you feel like everything's bad, just say, okay, can I be kind to myself? Even though things are bad, can I be kind to myself? And recognize it's a common condition. That's why I gave you all the statistics, is to know that if you're happy completely at Christmas, that's good. You're part of the 33% that think that everything's good. And that's a wonderful thing, and everybody else can lean on your joy. And if you're part of the rest of it, and recognize it's just part of the human condition to compare and contrast and feel isolated. But you want to know that. And then the third thing is, mindfulness versus over-identification. They're trying to be in the moment. You don't want to feel, the moment isn't just you. It's about us. We've been doing the we space meditation where we notice when, in our heart of hearts, when we're true to our noble selves, we're not alone. Even though there is one mind and that is our mind, it's also your mind and your mind and your mind and their mind and all those other people, all the people who are here, even at a different time, because Divine Mind lives outside of time and space. So our past selves can support us, and our future selves can support us, and all our friends and neighbors and fellow congregants. So all these three elements, leaning on your community, be mindful but don't isolate. Know that being human is a contagious condition. This place is full of humans, and we're all wonderful. And we can be kind to ourselves. It doesn't make you any more. Actually, they've done studies about people who motivate themselves by sort of being harsh to themselves versus being kind to themselves, and kindness works better. I mean, sometimes, I guess there is tough love if you really don't want to get out of bed, and you have to because it's time. People are waiting for you. But you don't have to be mean to yourself. You just have to be firm out of bed. So Joseph. So it starts off in the Nativity according to Joseph in Matthew, that the angel comes up to Joseph. It starts off where Joseph has had second thoughts about getting married to Mary. He's like, there's this Holy Spirit thing going on, and I don't know if I'm up for this. And the angel comes and has a talk with Joseph and sends him a dream. And he wakes up and he knows that it's all our noble selves. It's the birth of the Christ within, and that's what's happening. And then he's 100% on board. So he's fickle for a moment, but luckily he doesn't have to have his mouth shut like with Zechariah. According in Joseph's gospel, they live in Bethlehem. They've got a beautiful house, and they have the baby in the house. And then 2 years later, some wise men show up. So that's sort of a different birth story. And you can imagine, when they're in their old age, Joseph and Mary talking about, remember how Jesus was born in Bethlehem? No. We were in a manger. No, it was our house in Bethlehem. No, we didn't live in Bethlehem then. We lived. Anyway, we will let that discussion. We will leave them to that discussion. What happened was wise men came. So Joseph represents the enlightened intellect. Joseph is there 100%, but he isn't quite going with his intuition as much as Mary. He needs stronger messages. And the Magi are the same thing. The Magi are wise men coming from the east, from Parthia would be the kingdom in the time, which is where Iran is now. Probably astrologers because they were following a star, so there was something about the star. Mark Twain said it was Halley's Comet. Could be. But whatever it was, they were following it. And what it told them was that there was going to be a new king of the world would be born in Bethlehem. And so they thought, well, let's go talk to the old king, Herod, and find out what, see if he'll show us the new prince. And Herod was an interesting guy. He actually grew up, it was in the days of taking hostages, and so kingdoms, in order to keep from being at war, would have the royalty grow up in the court of a neighboring kingdom who they wanted to be at peace with. So he grew up with the Romans. And he was childhood friends with Augustus Caesar, back when he was just Octavian. Had 7 older brothers. And so he was really close with those guys, and those guys are like, why don't you be king of Israel? And he's like, well, I like it here in Rome, but I'll go. And he went there and he launched on a big building program, which is why they call him Herod the Great. One of the things that wasn't so great about him is he really loved his position. Well, that's actually a good thing. But he was worried his children would take it from him. And so one of the things he's most famous for, most well known for, is for killing his children because he thought they were going to kill him. And actually, I'm a little sympathetic to, if my dad kept killing my brothers because he thought they were a menace to him, I'm either going to run away or do something drastic. I'm glad I'm not in that situation. The life of royalty is not all that great. So Herod thinks that this is somebody else who's going to come and kill him. But when the Magi come and talk to him, he says, oh, why don't you find him and then come back here and we'll talk about him and I'll go and worship him too in my own inimitable way. So they went and they found the house in Bethlehem and they talked to Joseph and Mary and they left the gifts. And the 3 gifts they left, frankincense, myrrh, and gold. And gold represents the riches of spirit. And so we all have within us, because the birth of the Christ within is the birth of spirit within us, we all have the riches of spirit within. Myrrh represents eternity. And so eternity means that spirit is outside of time and space. We exist not only in this time plane, but we exist outside of time and space. And so myrrh represents that, and it represented it for them as well. And then frankincense is beauty. It's the beauty of the world. It's our internal beauty. It's all the beauty, that we all have and that we all see. We can create beauty and we can be witness to beauty. So these were wonderful gifts that they left. And they all went to sleep, in their wonderful Bethlehem house. And then when they woke up, they'd all had the same dream. And the dream said, Herod does not want to worship. Herod is afraid that he's going to be killed off by somebody who wants his job. And so the Magi head back east via a different route so that they won't run into Herod. And Joseph and Mary sort of put their house up on Airbnb so they could rent it. And then they head for Egypt. And they stay in Egypt for many years until they get word back that Herod's died. But even after Herod died, they thought, let's not go to Bethlehem because Herod's successor may also have this paranoia. Why don't we go and move to Nazareth? And so in both stories, they end up being in Bethlehem and Nazareth, but it's a different order. And who knows? I mean, Luke and Matthew were actually all written at least 50 years after, in fact, after the Nativity. They were written at least 50 years after the death of Jesus. So let's give it 30 more years. There's a lot of opportunity for people to mix up the stories. They got the cities right, but what order and where were people born? What is this about animals? So, but there we go. We've got we've got those 2 stories in the gospel. The dragon story is one you don't hear a lot of. Book of Revelation has sort of been taken over by people who see the end of the world is near. I'm a big fan because it's got, one, it's exciting. One of the things, historians think that the book of Revelation was written as sort of the comic book section or the entertainment section of the Bible. That something exciting was going to happen. Look, there's a dragon! In the regular stories, well, it's exciting when people get brought back from the dead, but there's a whole lot of blessing Actually, I was thinking of the fights with the demons. So never mind. There's excitement wherever you look. But here is I will read you the story of the woman and the dragon. And this is, thanks to Cynthia for the idea, this is a larger font than my Bible is. A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet and a crown of 12 stars on her head. So sun clothing, moon on her feet, 12 stars on the head. She was pregnant and cried out as she was about to give birth. Then an enormous red dragon with 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns on its heads. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so it might devour her child the moment he was born. She gave birth to a son, and her child was snatched up to God, to his throne. The woman went into the wilderness for a place prepared for her by God. So what does this mean? Clothed with the sun means this is a state of spiritual awareness. This is transcendent. That's the sun is, I want to say the light you cannot see, but obviously but it is the inner light. You know, sometimes you just see, sometimes the inner light is the light you cannot see, but it's the sun because it's so bright in her. The moon is associated with femininity, intuition, and the subconscious. And her feet are on it, so this is how she's connecting to the emotional and intuitive aspects of herself. The stars, 12 represents completeness or divine order. You know, all the numbers in the Bible, in the old days, represented that because they had, in Hebrew especially, they reused words. The word for each number meant something else too. It's as though and meant two, and I don't know. I haven't thought that fully out, but you know, luckily, thanks to the Indians, we came up with a number system that uses different words and different symbols for the numbers, so we don't get confused as to what's a number and what's a word. So 12 stars represents completeness and divine order, and so it's because it's a crown. It's like she has cosmic authority, and then she's giving birth. What she's giving birth to is the Christ within us, is, you know, our opening. You know, any moment we are in some senses always opening, always giving birth to the Christ within us. There's always something new, always something evolving. One of the things I've been noticing, you know, in our beautiful church is it seems like every single week there's an improvement. Every single week something is a little better. So and that's how we are in life. We don't stay static. You know, King Herod wants to stay static, and he thinks if anybody wants him to move, they're trying to kill him. So this is just fearful. We don't need to, you know, some of us have that fear. We don't need to feel that fear. We can open to it and let it go. The dragon, you know, is similarly the Herod consciousness. And, you know, it's the archetype of the eternal cosmic battle between order and chaos, good and evil. The dragon represents, you know, the forces that do not want to change. They want to be in control of things the way they are now. And we can let that go. So I want to talk, Pema Chodron says, just as a jewel buried in the earth for 1,000,000 years is not discolored, our noble heart is not affected by our kicking and screaming. The jewel can be brought out into the light and it will glow brilliantly. No matter how committed we are to unkindness or greed, our heart is completely whole. And I don't know how many of you have been to a gem mine, but they really do, you know, they come out, they may be dirty, but you wash the dirt off and they're beautiful, crystal clear, they scintillate. They come out of the ground like that. And that is us. You know, no matter what we do, you know, there's hope for Herod. There's hope for the dragon. There's hope for our, you know, our resistant self. So what I want to do, I'm going to do usually we do embrace tiger, return to mountaintop, but let's embrace our inner dragon. So let's notice that we each have like something. We may or may not have an inner dragon. Our dragon may be cuddly. In Chinese, the dragons represent prosperity and abundance. And this is a red dragon, and Chinese tend to have red dragons. So actually, let's transmute our dragon into a Chinese dragon that's prosperous and abundant. And let's embrace the dragon in our lives, prosperous and abundant, and return to the mountaintop, where we live in eternity, in beauty, and in companionship. And once again, embrace our friendly dragon and return to our mountaintop, where we are all united. Last time, embrace our friendly dragon, return to the mountaintop. So, and we have, let's do a short meditation now that we have all those stories. So let's breathe into our hearts. And we'd like a feeling of gratitude in our hearts. And so think of someone or something you're grateful for. It could be a pet, it could be a beloved family member, it could be an event, or even just this moment right here and now. There, that. And just feel that feeling of gratitude deep in your heart. And notice how it expands. It fills your heart. And overflows from your heart and fills your whole body, and then expands beyond the body. And now that we feel full, we feel full of love, we feel full of gratitude, we feel full of ease, let's move our awareness down to our feet. And let's feel our rootedness down into the earth. We are united with the earth. We are one with the earth and all the creatures of the earth. Our roots interconnect with one another. So we can give each other aid if we need to. We can feel each other's distress, and we can feel compassion for each other. When we need compassion, we know that we are each here, we are each there, ready to give it. And we are also able to receive it. It is a gift to be able to receive compassion from others, to be able to receive support from others. And now pulling up our awareness, let's put our hands on our tummies. This is our spiritual womb. This is where our noble self is reborn continually, moment by moment, instant by instant. This is a profound connection to creativity, a connection to the divine, a connection to spirit. And moving from our spiritual womb through our loving heart into our head, we notice our mind is more still than usual. And we can feel the stillness. We can also, if we want, open an opening in the top of our skull and send our awareness out into the universe. Connect with infinite awareness. And the edge of our awareness is the synapses of the divine. As we are interconnected with each other, interconnected with the divine, the instruments of spirit, the very source of spirit. And in our heart, we feel the openness, the lovingness of Mary, the spiritual vision that can show us the true nature of the world. We are connected with all the animals, all the other humans, all the beings who share our divine and human and earthly intelligence. And like Joseph and the Magi, we have inspired wisdom. We can learn from our dreams. We can follow our dreams. We can bring good into the world. Beauty, eternity, riches. This is our nature. And this is the season. This is the season where everyone celebrates joy, celebrates giving, celebrates gratitude. And part of that celebration is compassion for ourselves and others. Making sure that we know we can take care of ourselves and we have a community to take care of us as well. And now take a deep inhalation once again into your heart. And exhale from the heart. And let's move our awareness back into this time and space, into this room. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much, Christine S. And thank you for being here. So we want to affirm, once again, 3 times. I am made in the image of the divine, living a whole life.
I am made in the image of the divine, living a whole life. I am made in the image of the divine, living a whole life.
I am made in the image of the divine, living a whole life. And so it is, and so we are. So next week, I'm going to talk about It's a Wonderful Life, which has been rated the #1 most inspirational movie of all time. I'm sure most of you have seen it. If you haven't, or if you want to see it again, Northern Lights has agreed to show it for us on Friday at 7 p.m. in their space and on Zoom. So Gideon has already sent out this information so you can find it, and if you don't have it, we will happily send it out again. So it's a fun movie to watch if you want to. If you come here without watching it, it's okay. I will read some of the dialogue and catch you up on what's important about the movie. I mean, what's really important is it's about ourselves. It's about ourselves and our relationships to the world, and that's why I think Jimmy Stewart makes a wonderful everyman. He made a living for many years as an actor being everyman, and so we can appreciate that. Everybody has a prayer card that is both for prayer and for, thank you, demonstration. So I first want to ask you to think about if you've had a demonstration based on your prayers here. And if so, I encourage you to write down that demonstration. And if you pass it in, your demonstration will get prayed more for. But writing down your demonstration makes your prayers more powerful because you are affirming to your intellectual mind, to your skeptical mind, that yes, this happened. Yes, this works. Many of us, especially me, I was brought up as an evangelical atheist, so my whole upbringing says none of this works. It's really helped me since scientists have started studying religion because I have all kinds of evidence. But I mean, I really sort of, before scientists started studying religion very much, I went with the personal evidence. I did the practices and I got the results. And I think we all do the practices and we get the results. So anything we can write on that is good. And then if you have a prayer, the prayer cards go to our practitioners and they pray on them. They pray very powerfully on them. And so not only do you get the power of your own prayers, you get the power multiplied by the practitioners. And they pray on them for multiple days. So this this is valuable. And I think that's it. I think we're going to hear yet another beautiful song from Christine S. Thank you.
I wrote this song to be played with a band. It really rocks out. And for the first time today, I'm going to play it a little more chill, like unplugged. Sometimes it feels like it's all been done before. What could I say that we haven't heard before? Then I hear you tell me ideas take new life. When I see through your perspective, it's then I see the light. So let it shine, let it shine, let your light shine, let it shine. Singing a song becomes something new. Singing a song that's already been sung becomes something new. When I hear it through you, words come to life as they breathe through your heart. I have new understanding when you play your part. So let it shine, let your light shine, let it shine, let it shine, let your light shine. Now it's your turn to write the music. It's your turn to sing the song. It's your turn to be the drummer. It's your turn to dance all night long. So let it shine, let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let your light shine. Oh, let it shine.
Thank you, Christina. It's beautiful. So our center is supported by God, and we welcome you to be part of how God's support shows up in your life. If you're on Facebook, please visit our website at genesiscsl.org, or you can text your tithes to 206-800-7595, and let us take a moment to craft our financial gift. So let's take our giving envelopes and our prayer cards and hold them to our hearts and say together our offering prayer. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am thankful. And Gideon will now collect the offering and prayer cards. And while we do that, please stand and sing, God is my source.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
So it is with open hearts that we receive these gifts, knowing the fruits that come forth do powerful works. And we bless the givers, knowing that as we give, we receive tenfold. In deep gratitude, we give thanks. And so it is.
So it is.
So thank you for joining us today, whether you're here in person with us, which we love, or if you're online, we love you too. So wishing everyone a week filled with joy, love, and true connection. Please stand. You're already standing. You're psychic. Please stand and sing our closing song with us, I Release.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Woo! Thank you all. Please enjoy our fellowship, and there's some food over there to